Welcome in, everyone. Here we go. Flight number 2 here with Flying with Mike. We're heading to Charleston from Atlanta, where we just left off. All right, now Duluth Fly just said something. I can edit the sign on the wall. Okay. Is this the sign they've always talked about? Departure time. Let's call it 14:30. Well, I'll be doggone. That is the first time it's ever worked. Cool. There you go, folks. We updated it to say we're leaving at 14. I think that's 30. Could say 38. But anyway, we're delayed 84 minutes. I don't think we're delayed that long, but hey. Anyway, before we get going too far, thank you, Duluth, for that little insight. That has actually never worked for me. Let's get in here. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the inside of the terminal. They basically walk around in circles. Kind of how people are in terminals anyway, but you can see how they're walking around kind of the same lines. But hey, it's pretty cool what they have made in here. And we can kind of walk over. There's our plane. Look at that. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is how the jetways come in. But hey, it's better than nothing. The internal terminals are pretty cool. They could have a little more work, but a little more work in many people's idea means less frame rates in some people. So it looks good. I mean, that is the interior of Hotlanta. At least the little bit I remember of it. It has been way too many years since I've been in it. So they have done a remarkable job with it. And again, thanks Duluth Fly for that helpful tip there. Never worked for me at anywhere else. And lo and behold, this one it did. Atlanta to Charleston. Let's get ready to board it, shall we? Oh, wait, we got to first make the flight. How am I liking the LevelUp? You weren't here for that approach, Matt, 1997 Air. If that's what I'm in for with ILS approaches, I don't know how long we'll be with it. That was grisly. Overall, it's not a bad plane. There are some little things I don't like about it so far. But hey, before I get too wrapped up in the negatives, this is the first flight. And it just happened to be into a day that is just right out ugly. And it'll be up on YouTube later today, but yeah, feel free to catch us earlier and roll back about 10, 15, 20 minutes. You'll see just how horrible it was. It's kind of like me trying to fly an ILS, both real world and on the sim. I'm always chasing the localizer when I'm not on the, when I'm not coupled. It actually kind of sort of seemed like it was not coupling. And that could just be this guy. So let's give it another flight and let's see how we are to Charlietown. Was it the pilot or the plane? Right now, I'm going to say it was the plane because I did not touch the sticks until we were 500 feet or less. And it was, I mean, just chasing it the whole way down. It was, like I said, that's not what I'm used to, but it could have been the whole setup into it. I turned maybe late into the localizer. Who knows? But yeah, I was not happy with that part. Let's try flight 2 and see the difference. Okay, one more time. This is LevelUp. Now, what's the difference between LevelUp and Zebo? Actually, nothing from what I've been able to tell. Other than the fact I think Zebo does a lot better on Cat 3 approaches, but LevelUp includes the 700 or 737-600, I think. I'd have to go back and check. Don't quote me on that one. But definitely the 700, definitely the 800s, and the 900s. And like Zebo, they're free. So you just have to register, I think it's threshold, and that's it. And with the X-Plane 12, you've got it. And there's a way to keep it up to date with Zebo. I haven't broached that far yet. So, oh, and before you ask another question, Matt, 1997, all the doors were still on the aircraft on landing. So, very important tip. Sorry, Boeing. You're going to have a long road ahead of you to live those down. Like I said in the first one, after knowing this aircraft, well, the MAX history, I don't know if I will sit in a door seat again to get extra leg room for the wife. I think we'll suck it up and have the knees in our chest. Just kidding. Anyway, we're having way too much fun at this. Let's get to planning this flight, shall we? All right, so I'm bringing Sim Toolkit back in, and the reason being, it is actually the easiest animal to do this with, to show it to you all. We're going to actually plan the flight that we're going to fly. Now, those of you on Twitch, you saw this yesterday. Well, now YouTube's going to get it on this flight. Again, episode 6. This is flight, we'll call it part B. We're basically a life of a military brat. That was me. I lived it up until the end of my high school years. First, just a quick recap. Went from Norton, where I was born, to Bitburg to Sacramento, back to Norton, to Scott, down to Montgomery, Alabama, which is where Maxwell Air Force Base is. That's where episode 6 picks up. We're leaving Maxwell, which was the best day, one of the best days of my life. Leaving, oh, I hated. I've said this so much. I was not a fan of Alabama. Sorry, I am not a poster child you should use in the selling of the state of Alabama. Oh my gosh, just so hot. It was always miserable. Oh, just, Anyway, we went over to Charleston. Weather didn't change that much except for the onshore breeze at night. But that's where episode 6 will end, is in Charleston. And I am doing a quick fact check to make sure I've got my episodes right. Yeah, episode 6. So, that's where we're picking up. And what I decided to do was break this relatively short flight anyway up. You actually flew on a MAX from Miami to Reagan 3 years ago. It was terrifying, but also cool. I'm glad I was able to walk off that plane. No joke. Did you ask permission to walk down to the ramp to kiss the ground, or did you do that outside the terminal? Oh, no joke. Well, I've never been on a Max. I'll be honest. I've never seen, other than watching them taxi by at Baltimore and St. Louis. I've never been near one. So,
Atlanta traffic, Delta 3165, taxi 8 right.
All right, so let's get to work here. And I think I am going to come off VATSIM for the moment. And that way we're not interrupted constantly. So let's start planning part 2, the final part, over to Charleston. Click plan a flight here. Now, if you've already planned this out and it's sitting ready to go over SimBrief, click load last flight from SimBrief, load last SimBrief plan. If not, click advanced planner. Now I will say click advanced if you plan to use this. Otherwise, don't worry about it. We're in hot Atlanta, which is actually cold Atlanta.
Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta International. Information. Uniform current. Altimeter 29993.
And we are going to KCHS. Now, stand by. There's a lot right there. Hang on. I'm going to do something here. Sorry, I was changing frequencies mainly to help make things a little quieter. All right, here's the big thing. Now, I don't have a 757. I didn't really want to go buy the Flight Factor one. So, but I noticed there were a ton of 737 900s going from Atlanta to Charleston. And I do know that's one of their bigger routes. As a kid living in Charleston, I actually flew a Delta flight from Charleston in the mid-70s to Atlanta. My uncle at the time was living in Atlanta working for TBS, and we had a great time. We had just given him our boat. We were moving somewhere we couldn't have it. So I was up there having a great time on the boat. But to get from Charleston to Atlanta, not many of you out there I know are going to be able to say this. I got to fly on a DC-8, either 63 or 72, which was awesome. And that was so cool. The only thing that, like you were saying, the Max kind of scared you a lot of the way, that long tube. The normal DC-8s aren't like that, but when you get the 63 and especially the 7-72, oh my gosh, it's like, you know, this huge, you're looking like you're looking 5 miles ahead of you in front of the plane, just to the nose. It's just such a long, you have to get up next to them. I would get the same feeling 20 years later, 15 years later, driving the Emery Worldwide fleet to Dayton, Ohio, onto the ramp, backing into the dock and staring me down, nothing but DC-8-72 freighters. Oh, brought that memory back. And flying Delta always brings that memory back. So, sorry, folks, had to share. However, today, ooh, I could change the flight number. Let's do that. Let's go with this one. So now we are Delta 2832 with service to Charlietown. We'll be in November 809, Delta November. And if that's enough for you, hit generate plan. If you want, like I do, I go to 5% plus 45. Taxi out time will be 20 mics and 10 mics in. I'm not going to worry about passenger cargoes or zero fuel weight. I don't care what runway. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to have it take 9 left. And it'll set up, hopefully the right stuff. Generate. And now it reaches out to SimBrief, does whatever SimBrief does, and then brings it back for us to flight plan and get the airplane set up. So A lot of you tell me this is very complicated. It's just like building it in SimBrief, except you're right here. And here's the funny thing. Okay, so first off, here's what we did. We'll be on VATSIM. We'll be on the Gary 2. Let's check that in charts real quick. Sid, Gary 2. First off, I go up top and look for restrictions like turbojet only. Good. Looks like all runways, so that's good. So I think we have a good choice. And we should be good to click fly now. All right, you can see the blob taking over Atlanta. Yeah, that's what we landed in, and it was nasty. Nastiness. All right, now another thing you could have done, if you have SimBrief tied through the manager down here, you could have just done SimBrief through here. That is just like going to it on the internet and pulling a browser up, typing SimBrief in, and there you go. Hang on a second. The first officer is playing peekaboo with the captain, the 10-month-old granddaughter. Stand by. Oh, that was hilarious. I'm kind of glad I took that quick step away. Lo and behold, the ceiling fan in the office was out. I think that little 10-month-old got her little fingers on it. All right. So anyway, you can see there's a couple of ways. So like I said, if you'd have gone to simbrief.com or whatever it is on a browser, that's what you get right here. Or you could have gone via the way I showed you. However, we did, so let's look at it real quick. 43,470 pounds of payload. We are flying a whole bunch of people. A full load, 189, and a lot of their bags and some cargo to Charleston. 9 left as we planned, 1-5, cool. We can check out the, I think the ILS on that approach. And like I said, the Gary 2 departure to IRQ. What is that one? Stand by. Stand by. I'm going to get that here. Come on, charts. IRQ is Collier's. I think that's in South Carolina, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out en route. So, nice little flight. Again, cost index 13, and they're only giving us 25,000. How far is this run? Hang on, let's see. We are flying 236 miles, 25,000. You know, that may not be all that bad. We could possibly hit 30, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. We'll do 25. As instructed, weather, we already know, crappy by crappy here in Atlanta with a little bit of icky stuck into it. Heavy rain, 1.5 mile visibility. I will attest to it. I will not attest to broken at 500, but I think we did break out. And we were on a Cat 3, so it really didn't matter. And also broken at 1800, scattered at 4600. Temperature 6, 2.4, and probably a little mix of fog mixing in. Surface visibility at 1.75 miles. Okay. There is a SIG for this thunderstorms popping through there. 43 degrees on the temperature gauge. 6 for those of you that don't live in the U.S. Matt chimed in there a few minutes ago. Thinks he actually deleted the Zebo files after flying a few times. Well, right now, after the first flight, will still say I'm sold on Zebo. But they are technically sort of kind of one and the same. Just some differences still. Charleston, oh my gosh. Broke into 700. Overcast 1,000, 12 degrees. What's going on here in the southeast? Well, we're going to get a chance to see how this works again. The good thing is we're not down as bad as we were here in Atlanta. We do have 10 miles of visibility. Of course, by the time we get there, 1.5. You know, the guy realizes, oh, wait, that was a decimal that should have been in there. So we'll see, though. All right, so there you have it, folks. That's what we're doing. That's what we're flying. That's the pre-brief for the Spirit of Seattle, taking us from hot Atlanta, which is actually cold Atlanta this morning, to Charleston, and it isn't warming up much, so like you would hope. Well, I didn't even check temperatures. What were they? Hang on. Over in Charlottetown, 12 degrees. Hey, it's at least in the 60s or low 50s or mid 50s, so a little warmer there, but not. I would not step into the Atlantic just yet. Alternate for the flight is Jacksonville. So anyway, we've had a lot of fun. Again, Duluth, thanks. We can update the sign here with Nimbus, which you do. Go to plugins, look up Nimbus info screen, and you can update it. I never could find it, I guess, to see it. That's the first time in several flights that I've actually seen it. All right, so let's get to work here, shall we? First thing I'm going to do, we're going to sit here. We're going to go ahead, realign. So let's put this to heading status. Let's go ahead and just go through it all. You know, again, I will say this to Boeing. To me, this is one of your more important alarms telling you you're stalling. Talk to Airbus in a 330 falling out over the Atlantic between Brazil. Flight crew couldn't figure it out. Or they may not have been able to rectify it. That we're going by recordings. We are hoping, hope for the best here. But you would think you'd want this to be a little louder or a little more like, for overspeed. Also, usually your over rotate, which I've heard happens a lot in these Dash 900s, you would have that alarm too. Okay, bright dome lights off, service off. Okay, they're on. Do a quick test. Good. Let's go to align. Align. Why I put it to heading status gives you the minutes to alignment, 7. Once we go to align, go nav. Okay, Everything's looking good. Get these fuel pumps off. All right, hang on. Let's get off the APU. Okay. All right, and one look over here. All right, so now let's load our new one. And I'm going to verify here real quick. So we got 189 packs. Zero fuel weight should be 143,741. Fuel 13,433. Good, good. We're going to go ahead and activate. Why the jetway went away is it's thinking we're reloading a different way, and it's going to be annoying the rest of the time. There it goes. Now, if we go back one page, in a moment, we're going to begin to see fueling and cargo load. There comes the fuel truck. I never noticed that. The hose is perpetually stuck out there. That was good. Level Up, thanks. That was great. I'm glad I did that. Oh. Oh, that was great seeing it come with the fuel line already set up at the right altitude and everything to hit that fuel line. Oh, geez, that was great. Oh, thanks, Level Up. All right, well, let's press on. And as you can see, cargo fuel loading. Okay, so let's get our stuff going. All right, and if you didn't notice that, folks, I was laughing. As the fuel truck pulled up, you could see the line out and 90 degrees up, ready to connect into the wing. That was great. I have to watch Zebo now to see if it does that. All right, we can turn the fuel pump off in the back, and they can do what they do best. Okay, I think we're set up here. All right, real quick, running through all of this. We're on 3 minutes to go. Unlike last time, let's race down here. By the way, we're looking at less than a week now to when the next update comes out from Navgraph. KCHS. Okay, so when that goes to 0, we'll see our screens look like they should. Okay, back up here. Cabin utilities are good, good, set. And window heats are on, probe heats off. Anti-ice off, right? Hydraulics set. Trim air on. Packs auto, and auto, isolation closed, APU off. All right, cruise altitude 25,000. $50 and we're ready to get down here and get this set up here. So we'll request. Okay, let's clear, and cleared. Okay. Now, let's go to the departure. There we go. We just aligned. Everything just came alive. Departure. Let's see here. Today's flight 9 left. Gary. IRQ. I like doing these to make sure we're right. And then I'm going to look. That didn't, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it does. Because off the IRQ, we're on the Osprey 7 arrival. Okay, now let's do that. Osprey. First off, what approach? Okay, you're not going to see some of this. I'm going to bring charts in, show you a little trick here. Charts is a great program. It just updated in the last couple of days. It keeps you up to date with charts worldwide, not just the U.S. The U.S. you can actually get for free on SkyVector. Everywhere else, to include Canada and Mexico, can be very difficult to find. So you get a program like NavGraph. I think there's another one out there where you get them all for a subscription. It's not much more than what you pay for your FMCs here with NavGraph. Add it on to that, and not only do you have up-to-date FMC data, you'll get the new charts as they release and any new features. They've got some great features. But anyway, so here's our route. Over here, we know we're doing 9 left, and all of this can be loaded. Very simple. You just click on load for now. We're going to do the, you would just import from SimBrief, and then click here. So very simple. Again, a free SimBrief ID gets you so much now in the flight sim world, especially X-Plane. I can't really talk about the other one. I don't have it. So, all right. So we're going to be talking now about the arrival here. So we're coming in on the Osprey. Now, let me show you one other thing you can do. You can select. And now it's going to show you everything related to ILS 15, RNAV 15, basically the runway 15 stars and their approaches. Okay, I think ILS to Luther and N is what we want. So we'll just add that to the route, and there we go. It also down here puts the charts available to you, which is really nice. Okay, so the Osprey. Okay, we're coming off Collier's, and you can see we're going to come down to Osprey, over to Luther, and there's where we'll join the localizer for 15. Pretty simple. ILS looks like this. From Luther, which is 17 miles out. All right, so let me blast us back in time to Atlanta. And then I'm going to get rid of charts. And now let's check it out. Okay, so we said the ILS. Hang on. Luther. Osprey. There we go. Let's make sure we didn't screw anything up. Because with as short a run as we have, beef, boo-boo, turtles, Osprey, Luther, ma'am, and what else do we have? Ashley. Where's Ashley? There it is. This I don't get. Okay, this one kind of makes it. No, it doesn't. You got an initial fix and an initial approach fix. I don't get the difference. Now, granted, I was not an instrument pilot, just a couple of hours, 20 hours of instrument training. None of that makes sense to me. So, all I know is we're going to grab it at Luther and fly it in. Okay, so everything's looking good here. And then out to Wando. Is that right? Wando. Where's Wando at? Where's Waldo? There's Wando. North and east of the airport. Okay. Okay. So with the route in, now we can hit perfect, initial request, and all it's going to do is load the basics. We'll have to do the N1. We'll have to do takeoff numbers. Okay. And all we got to do is click the word load. And there it is. 25,000. It's not even. Oh, there it goes. 26. In that direction, odd is preferred, so we're at the right level. Okay. Bear with me a second. Getting our takeoff numbers. Okay. Now, what we're going to read here will differ from SemBrief. Let's get our fuel number first. Reserves will be 4.4 plus, so 8.2. Everything else looks good. Go to N1. Okay. Now, you all aren't seeing this. I'm just going to run through it real quick. Flaps will be at 5. Takeoff is fine. 47 is fine. So put that in here, 47. Wait for it. All right, so we're going to go with takeoff. Climb 1. Let's ease the engines into it. Climb 2. Now to the takeoff page. We'll put the CG in. Now we'll go to page 2. Hang on. 0.3 down. Okay. All right. Runway winds. We say... Oh, man. .060. Diagonal. 9. Okay. Down 0.3 slash 095 for the heading. Runway slope heading. We'll go wet on the runway. 47's our select. Outside is 6. Confirmed. Wet. Everything else looks good. Next. 5 for the flaps. All right, now we're showing 157, 159, 164. They are increased to improve the limits from what we see here. So I'm going to put them there. Let's see how it does. 157. Actually, I'm going to go 148, 159. Going to take into account a wet runway. I don't think it did, even though it says. All right, and then we'll turn the QRH off. All right, we're just about ready to go. I am going to fire up the APU. Wait for it. And then I'm going to go ahead and start boarding people. Let's see how it sounds outside. Sounds pretty good to me. That was a pretty good startup on it. Good sounds. I heard they have really good sounds here with LevelUp. All right, so this is what you need to do to get it to start boarding, and that's what we are going to do. It's already put the cargo on, already done the fuel. There it goes. All right, let's get things ready to go for when they're all aboard. All right, back up here. Engine bleeds on, APU bleed now on, cruise and landing altitude started, APU's up and running, fasten seatbelts will come on here shortly, route, perfit, N1 and trim are all available, APU will bleed to off. Oh, to get the APU started, okay. All right, we're basically waiting on the back. Okay, the approach, I'm sorry, the departure requires 10,000 feet initially. Okay. Let's go ahead and while we're waiting on the peeps to get on, let's get serve. Where am I here? There. 2832. Running just a tad on the late side. Okay. $25.30. Okay, I think we're ready to go. $36%. All right. Take a few more minutes here. You know how you are when you're bored. All right, so we're online just waiting on the peeps. Braden Calm 54, thanks for the follow. We sure appreciate it. And thanks for the first time chat. Welcome aboard. Where are we flying to? Well, we're flying out of hot Atlanta, which is actually cold today. Atlanta to Charleston, South Carolina. Shared with the Air Force Base there. Also, there's a 787 plant there, so a lot to do in Charleston. You are looking at X-Plane 12. In front of us is the Nimbus Atlanta scenery. The aircraft is second flight with LevelUp. Usually fly the Zebo mod, but the LevelUp I broke down and went ahead and am giving it a try. So it is the first flight wasn't all that great. It was a great takeoff, great cruise, great descent. It just seemed like it was chasing the localizer. I think I put it on late, so we'll kind of hopefully better run into Charleston. Catch everyone up here while we're waiting on the passengers. Out of Atlanta here. If I could get the right page up, there we go. Here's the current real-world ATIS in Atlanta. Down here is the approach. Up here is the arrivals. So we're going to depart 9 left. Currently in Atlanta, 060 at 9 1.5 mile visibility, rain, at least it's not heavy rain. Broken at 500, overcast 1400. I'm hoping pilots aren't fudging that to say 500, because I thought we broke out a little lower, but flight sim, real world usually are different. $2,992 for the altimeter. And surface visibility, actually 2.5 miles now, so that's cool. 9 left and 8 right are the departures. And RNAV off them. All right, so let's get back over here. Charleston, real world. We're coming in on the approach. We're coming in runway 15. Again, okay, overcast has lifted a little to 1,000. Yay. And simultaneous approaches. 2 runways in use, so that means land and hold shorts if they actually have a lot of traffic could be in play. We're going to be doing the ILS 15. The RNAV Yankee 21 also is available for approaches. Here's what's out of service. Real world doesn't affect the sim. So that's what we have ahead of us, folks. Hope you enjoy the ride. We'll take a look. Oh, cool. You fly both of them. Okay. I left in 2020 the world of Microsoft, not the new Microsoft, the old FSX. I'm not going back. After watching the videos back then, I wasn't a big fan of it. And switched over and stayed with X-Plane 11 and 12 now. Let's take a look outside. It says 2.5 mile ground visibility. Okay. Okay, I'll buy what it's selling. 500 feet? Yeah, maybe, sort of, kind of. Hard to tell. Let's see where we are loading. I think I just heard the door. No, I did not. I thought I heard it close. STR-33 T King. Glad to hear someone staying with this sim. I really like X-Plane. I like everything. I'm not so much sold on it. You're going to Burbank. Ooh, that's a cool airport to land at. It breaks some rules. I like that airport for that. You literally almost back up onto the runway from the terminals. So I really like that airport. Street King. Okay. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure what you were going with there. But yeah, Street King it is. I'll try to remember. Let's put it that way. And just a side note, since this is the Atlanta Nimbus scenery, this is the first stream of many that I've done to Atlanta that the sign up here is actually working. Thank you again, Duluth Fly. Even though I did that all the time, that's why I normally don't. This time it worked. Thumbs up. Yay! How does the sign up here work? Very simple. Plugins, Nimbus airports. I don't know how this looks with multiple, just so you know. Then info screen, and then you fill it out. And yes, folks, I did click accept. I guess I couldn't find the screen. Here it's like right smack in front of you, but some of these gates it's kind of hard to find. But yeah, there you have it. Tells you where you're going. Yeah, we're late, and we'll hopefully be ready to go here shortly. 100%. Let me just... There goes the jetway. Have they closed the door yet? Yeah, one other thing. Now, LevelUp is still getting up to speed with what
All right, we've
Zebo.
got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
And that should close the door. So that's why you don't see passengers back there. But anyway, they're trying to get a lot of what you see in Zebo up into here and keep it with Zebo, I think. But then you'll have, I think it's the 6 and the 700, the 800, the 900. Again, like LevelUp with X-Plane 11 in X-Plane 12, it's free. Unlike the other huge 737 producer in the other world of simming, this is free. And I won't say LevelUp is better, but I will say Zebo is. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to be nice and not make enemies. So, yeah, that company that you see in chat. I don't know. And the reason I say that is we taxied with this aircraft, and this came with it. And I was impressed with the sounds that came off this 737. I have not been near a 900. Might have been by a 700. No, an 800 a time or two. And this one's got some sounds that are amazing. Again, price of admission to X-Plane, not to LevelUp. LevelUp is free. So with that in mind, and with better pushback, which is free, let's get ourselves up and moving here, shall we? Now, unfortunately, like I said, they're still trying to get up to speed where, you know, with Zebo, you can click in, get your PA announcement in, and other things they're still trying to bring up. The LevelUp just gives you more versions of the 737 next generation and G's. All right, enough chit chat, time to go. Now, one thing I did with testing with another simmer out there, another streamer, Bad Attitude, I tried a couple of things. And hang on, let me get some. And if y'all didn't know, heading status up here, if you set that when you're in alignment, it tells you how many minutes till you're aligned. Those curious, took me a while to figure that out a long time ago. Okay, Atlanta is still bare, no controllers. Okay, we are ready to push. But again, as I was saying, better pushback is free. You can make it do some really amazing things. In some of the airports where you really need those tight turns.
Where do you want to go?
I want to go right here. Miami being one of those where you can actually make it. St. Louis, coming out of the close-in sea gates to get out properly. That's where that is. Okay. But there is a setting in preferences that puts the tug like right here. So it's a short and you're ready to go.
Ready ready to connect.
All right, cleared to connect. Face us south. All right, minimums are set to 400, 2992, and we're ready to push. Let's clear this off for now. Go to engines.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Break off.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
All right. Now, Airbus guys, you know why you would go down here. We just need to make sure the packs are off, fuel is on, and then number 2 engines, the usual startup, go to ground, and then watch her spool up. Oh, that was nice. So whatever just drove through us. Oh, you gotta love the AI ground traffic. All right, we got a good light off on number 1.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All right, once he's announces clear, we'll do our things. Awesome, just departed. Cool.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
And thanks again for the pushback. And just remember, this is free. So, not a lot of things in the simming world is free. At least in the X-Plane world, it does seem to have a lot more. Okay, there's the driver out with the pins. Let's continue on. All right, so we got the pitot heat on. Gen 1's on. Bleeds off. All right, pitot heat. All right, let me catch up here. System 2. Anti-ice will turn on engines only. And off. Let's go Gen 2 this flight. And off with the APU. All right. Packs are back on. Okay, flaps to takeoff, which will be flaps 5. Taxi lights on. And let's get those switches into continuous. And auto brake to reject. Trim, we're looking at 5.5. That'll work. And last but not least, let's do a flight control check. I don't know why the elevator is slightly off. Something tells me I got to do something in the calibrations. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay, everything's set. Radar on. Here we go. Atlanta traffic, Delta 2832, taxi to 9 left. Got a great bunch of people today for the second half of Flying with Mike Life as a Military Brat, as we continue that series. Those new to it, basically brainstorming with the wife. I was running out of ideas for flights. She came up with, why don't you fly where you've lived? Being a military brat, we've lived quite literally around the world, many of us. I've only been abroad once as a child, 2 or 3 times with my wife, but with the truck, many times into Canada and back. You know, that mean old country up north. I actually kind of liked it. But anyway, but that's, you know, was a really good idea. My only fear in it, would the airports still be around since the closures back in 13K hours on VATS is wild work. I have a feeling you looked me up on VATS then. Because that's about right. 13,000 hours. Yeah, I've done a lot of flying. This was my goal as a child, to be a commercial pilot. Was looking at Atlanta. Okay, thank you. Because my flight time isn't far off. But anyway, we, through the different cuts that occurred since being in the military in the 80s, I wondered how many of these were open. So far, all of them. And I can tell you, to the end, they're all open, which is incredible. Started episode 1 in Norton, which is actually San Bernardino International. Traveled to Bitburg. That was our first place we went. Then from Bitburg back to the States, back to California with Sacramento. From Sacramento back down to Norton. That would be episode 3. From Norton, we then traveled to Scott. Now, these, by the way, happened about every year or two by the time we got to Scott. Now, when we left Norton, I was just getting into kindergarten, early 70s. Remembered a big earthquake to a 5-year-old, not too many Angelinos, 4.5 or so on the Richter. Thought the world was falling in. Actually, it felt like a bowling ball, like you hear a lot. But I also remember the mountain north, I think it's north of Norton, on fire. It was incredible. I can't, when I hear of wildfires in the LA area, that memory kicks in real quick. When I hear of earthquakes, same thing, that one kicks in. From Norton, like I said, we went to Scott. That would be first, second, third grade for me. Second grade broke up into 2 schools. Scott to Montgomery, which is where episode 6 started, flight 1, and we're doing it in 2 parts because, well, it's a short flight from Montgomery to Charleston. So I thought, why not break it up with Atlanta? Delta's a good reason. And then Delta going into Charleston. And this is where I actually can say living in Charleston was one of the best places we ever went. Alabama was one of the worst. But in Charleston, besides the temperatures still being hot, the sea breeze at night was it helped make it more bearable. But Star Wars released when I was a kid, the very first episode, which is, we're not even going to get into it. It's so confusing to this generation. Heck, it's confusing to me, and I lived through them all. Also, the bicentennial of the United States occurred from Independence Day, as did Smokey and the Bandit release. So, anyway, enough on that's what we're doing. We got several more places to visit and wrap this up. So we're off to Charleston. Let's make sure the plane's ready to go before we call it. Takeoffs. Okay, do we get the brake set? Is it? Yeah. Okay, let's try this time. Hey, they're working this time. That might be. Maybe things weren't fully up and going. Low cam. Okay. Atlanta traffic. Delta 2832 departing 9 left. Gary 2 departure. Your VOR is on. My VOR is on. Huh? You talking on the radio panel? No, VHFs are on. Here we go.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Nobody appears to be. And I do have us on TARA. We are, and we're ready to go. Now, one thing I was warned about with the 737-900s, they're prone to tail strikes because of how long the fuselages are. I got a feeling they're not as prone as advertised, but with me, it's possible. There's 60. Timer on. And toga. Back to that center line. 80 knots.
80 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. $400. 1,000.
Okay, we're airborne, headed out. Lightest would have been our departure RNAV fix, and Irwin possibly, but they're basically the same way. We're on our way. Let's see what Sim Toolkit is saying. 54 minutes. Yeah, yeah, they have tail strikes at the gate. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, they almost think they need pogo sticks on them. That's what I call them. Got to be careful loading them. Okay, flaps are up, landing gear set. Just doing my final checks here at 5,000. Flaps are up. Auto brakes off, engine start switches are going to remain in auto in the storm, and we're on our way. Now, hold your ears. I have not changed the volume, so I'm not sure how loud it'll be. That's a lot better than I think Zebo is. I could be wrong, though. All right, we're at 250, really getting rocked.
Atlanta traffic, Delta 120, we're pushing off a gate.
Yeah, it was really bumpy on the way over from Montgomery, so, and we're not going to be grabbing a lot of sky. 25,000's where we're going to top. Roger, up to 25,000. Delta 2832. Doesn't help. Sometimes I really am thinking about disabling that. All right, and we're okay, we are on our way. It's showing 39 minutes. Once we get to 25, it may get better because obviously we're going to speed up some. But I'm glad y'all are here. Thanks for flying with Mike. We don't have a long flight ahead of us. We're staring down at 39 minutes to go. That could be all the way to the gate. So I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed getting out of a hot Atlanta, which is actually on the cool side today, and a very rainy, very stormy day in Atlanta. Hey, there's 10,000. Oh, and the cool thing is we'll actually be able to set transition level. How about that? We didn't get that high. We were at 13, I think, the whole way from Montgomery to Atlanta. Y'all think that's crazy. Well, that's unfortunately when you fly a 100-mile flight. Yeah, that's crazy in itself, but yeah, you're not going to get up very high. Billiken. Uh-oh. Are you saying you fly one of the Billiken call sign aircraft out of St. Louis here, or something else with Billiken? Oh, nothing. Yeah, we have a flight school here. Their aircraft go by Billiken. And back into the big chop. And the funny thing is, I don't see storms out on this side of Atlanta. We're just pulling out of them now. That's why I'm kind of shocked. What's going on with Charleston? Yeah, we shouldn't really. Well, again, what the flight sim says and what the real words say can be and usually are different, as we pulled out of that. All right, 25,000 and I'm going to go ahead just so they get a little bit more time to stretch their legs and we sell more alcohol to make money on this flight. We're going to turn the seatbelt sign off. Might as well turn. Settling down a little bit. And we're down to 21 minutes to go. All right, let's start setting up for the arrival. Okay. I'm kind of shocked we don't get Charleston's VOR. 13.5. All right, and we are tracking. All right. To the VOR. And then we'll track down to Osprey over to Luther and down to the ILS for 1.5.
To go.
All right, we're leveled off, and Osprey, beefy 24,000 or higher, and then we'll start our descent. Okay, cool. Wow, like I said, quick flight. Those that weren't here for the pre-brief, we're looking at 236-mile flight. Flight time 41 minutes, scheduled an hour and 11 minutes. So we're doing pretty good. And top of descent, 55 miles. So let's get to work on it. Just got into cruise and now we're getting ready to do our descent. Forecast, request, descent winds. And this all works off of SimBrief here. And since there weren't any, there aren't any loaded. When there are, they do load in. Descent, okay. Again, we're looking at about 50 miles. All right, I hope you all enjoyed that short one. Wow, these are some of the shortest flights that I fly. I normally like them about an hour to an hour and a half minimum to 2 to 3 hours. On average, pop 2 of those flights. Today we are really short haul on this. And it still gets me that 737-900s do this run. So, but again, thanks. Again, life as a military pilot continues. And we're heading into Charleston. Next episode will be where we went from Charleston. Now, to those of you in the service, it's gonna get could get a little personal, going not so much from Charleston to our next base. It would be the next one. That's when it gets kind of difficult. This one was great leaving. Like I said, I hated Alabama. So leaving Alabama was great. Charleston was great. I got a great start to my love of history with such a historic city as Charleston is. The beauty of Charleston, even at my age, was unbelievable. Doesn't help the beaches were very close, and highly enjoyed it. But from here on, it gets a lot more difficult as a life of as a military brat. And I'll explain as we get into those episodes. I'm not going to do it here. It's not appropriate, and let's just go ahead, set 10,000, and we're going to get ready to do our descent. But up to this point, those of you in the service, thank you first for your dedication. When big holidays come along for them, folks, I also asked while we celebrate the service people that all they do for us, don't forget, it's those families behind them that help them the most. And people forget that. They're left behind, and it gets rough. Now, up until middle school, which is where I start middle school, is Charleston, 5th grade, through 7 and 7th. And things begin to get challenging. Doesn't help. A deployment, I don't know if you would call it a deployment or what, but a short tour assignment, we'll call it that, comes in the middle of this. But like I said, Star Wars released A New Hope. Smokey and the Bandit came out, and the bicentennial occurred. So on top of the other positives, I also got to witness my first kind of 2, and I say it that way because you wouldn't think the word tropical storm in St. Louis would go hand in hand, but it did once. I experienced 2 tropical storms. Now, many of you down in the southeast have seen hurricanes, major hurricanes. So to talk about a tropical storm is like talking about a severe thunderstorm went through. We get those all the time, and it was challenging. But keep the families of those service people in your minds as well on those holidays. They give up a lot too. Lot to support. All right, we're going to start our descent. Okay, we got that. We don't get the descent now, and I don't know why. Let's plan break. You know, the terminal is closer to the end, but if we got to land and hold short, huh, weird. No outway right there. Interesting. Let's go ahead, plan break 2. We're on a 9,000 foot runway. They're going break 3. Okay. We'll have 980 feet afterwards. Wow. Okay. Okay, you might be wondering what I'm doing. I am beginning to actually set up for the ILS 154. Charleston is showing up. We're not getting a distance read on it, nor are we on the RMI. Why not? Oh, there it is. 84 miles away. So we are starting in. All right, and I hope you've enjoyed. We got crossing traffic above us. See if we can't pull that in. Looks like an American Airlines flight headed to Reagan. So anyway, just be ready for that, those of you who may be in the service. What's coming? What's coming today, though, is an arrival, hopefully better than what we did in Atlanta to Charleston. Hopefully. That was horrible. Kind of hoping Matt 1997 Air would report back if he's seen the video or not into Atlanta. Yeah, it was just chasing the localizer. It was really, that should have been a go around, try again, but thankfully we actually pulled off a halfway decent approach, landing and all. All right, we're 12 minutes out. If you want to put predictions in, I'm going to go ahead, call it. Actually, here's how you do it. Just follow my lead there. Butter landing. Not going by what we did into the Atlanta. But again, that was my actual first flight flying any of the 737s under NG. Not going to say Zebo would have been better, but it might have been. Then I have not many excuses to pull out with Zebo. So, but yeah, we're getting close. If you want to put a prediction in, exclamation mark the word predict and a space with a negative. It has to be a negative number. I see Brandon has put one in. There we go. All right, and let's do it. This will help others. We're 10 minutes out, so let's get ready. We're going to go ahead, turn on seatbelts. Okay, brakes are set to 3. 18,000, and we need to set to 2099. Let's see if we get... And ILS today's minimums 200. Okay, and we are set up for the ILS minus. And once we hit Osprey, I'll switch us on to the ILS information. Okay, for those curious, ILS frequency today is 1097, 154. Here's a quick look at it. Whoops. All right, so you can see the approach frequencies, 126.0. Let me get that set up. All right, and 1097 is the localizer, 154 is the final approach course. Ashley, which is the initial approach fix, which I don't get, I don't understand. But anyway, it is what it is. At 1,561 feet on your altimeter. Decision altitude is 143 feet. Radar RA, I don't get into understanding that. Missed approach, I hope y'all have been reading because I'm going to begin sliding it down. But basically, we climb to 3,500 feet and hold at Wando. Where's Waldo? Okay, Luther, straight into Mammy to our initial at Ashley and then in. Okay, just making some corrections here. Ashley, again, 1,560 feet above the ground. I'm sorry, above sea level. And it is 5.8 miles from the touchdown. Allsif 2's Pappy's on the left. And there's the missed approach again. And there is our oh, that's why. Here's our ILS numbers. So decision altitude 243, 200 feet above the ground. Nothing changes. However, from Ashley to the missed approach point, 1 minute 58 seconds. RVR of 18, half-mile visibility or greater. Then once on the ground, there's the terminal. I think we park here somewhere. I'm going to aim for, I don't know, we'll put her in one of these. Okay, here we go. We're coming up to Osprey. And then we head over to Luther. Okay. All right, and landing lights on.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
All right, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here for the runway. Luther again, 4,000, expecting the ILS to 15. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for flying with Mike. We'll try to do a better job this time. I do have a private pilot's license. Don't hold that against me. I'm going to go ahead, begin slowing. And again, current weather overcast as of 24 minutes ago at 1,000 feet. All right. All right, let's go ahead, switch into the ILS mode. Boom. I'm going to keep it 1.
To go.
Okay, we've got the localizer. Let's see how it does. Yeah, Charleston traffic, Delta 2832 on the ILS 15. Full stop. right, here we go. Okay, 155. Okay, gears down.
2500.
Spoilers armed. And brakes are set. All right, here we go. Gear 3 green. Looks like we might be braking out. Should have 10-mile visibility under 1,000 feet. Oh, now the weather just changed. Maybe true. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, we got another 1,000 to go. Coming into 1,500 feet. Definitely got the ground. In fact, I thought I just saw runway environment. That cloud just took it away. And Charleston traffic, area traffic, Delta 2832, 3-mile final, runway in sight, full stop, 15.
Light slow.
400.
Light slow.
Cleared to land, green on the landing gear, brakes set. We're getting a little off the center line.
Approaching minimums.
Light slow.
200. Minimum. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
$80.
All right, and welcome to Charleston, folks. All right, folks, we're back with you. Welcome to Charleston. Sorry, just checking a couple things with the boss here. And spoilers are up, laps coming up, and we're taxiing in. All right, like I said, we're aiming for the B gates. The big gates. Got a lot of people here. I wonder why. Are they my fire brigade waiting on me? All right, let's get the radars.
Delta 2832 from CSA 761, nice landing, mate.
Thank you, sir. We sure appreciate it. Y'all have safe flights.
Thank you very much, have a great day.
Kind of felt nice. We'll see how it looked when we get in. Let's get that APU fired up. You know what? I think I'm going to go straight ahead. I think we'll just take this one right here. For those who didn't catch at the beginning of the stream, one other reason I like Charleston. Whoa. Now, the terminal wasn't here when I was a kid. I'll have to explain a little bit. Remember, if you all know when movies like Star Wars released, the very first movie, A New Hope, I'm going to say it that way because it gets very confusing any other way. Smokey and the Bandit and the United States Bicentennial, yeah, we're deep, very rich in the Cold War. And I'll explain here in a second as we make sure we're set up to shut down. Okay, that's good. Off there. Trim needs to go how many? 4 units. Okay. Get up here. Probe heat can go off. Anti-ice off. Here comes the APU. Okay, we're in the blocks. Head over here. All right, we are safely in the chocks and the blocks. All right, kind of set the stage here a little. All right, now where the terminal is today is not where it was, like I said, as a kid. Okay, now I lived here at Charleston Air Force Base. Across the way there, yes. Now today, that's a ramp full of C-17s and some transient military and airlines. back in that tree line behind those buildings, that would have been where housing and all was. Okay, that's where I lived. Okay, over here, where that new control tower, obviously not that big, slightly, I'm going to say, you know what, might be easier to go this route. Might be better to say right here, which would be off to the right of that control. Oh, wait, you don't see that. Hang on. Okay, so as you look at this map, the old terminal was either this ramp or this ramp. And like I said, I flew a DC-8-63, or I'm going to say, I think it was a 72, from here to Atlanta to visit my uncle. We had a boat. We were getting ready to make our next move, and he graciously took over the boat, enjoyed it. There's a great lake outside of Atlanta. We had a blast. Saw my first water skiing, I don't know what you call it, where you've got multiple skiers doing different things, like a circus. I don't mean to berate it like that, but you know, something like that on the water. It was first time. And anyway, that was where the terminal was. Now, where the control tower is today was the Air National Guard F-106 Delta daggers. Or darts. I think they were daggers. Anyway, doesn't matter, F-106s. And on occasion, I know of at least twice I saw the lights go off on the roads. They went into alert and scrambled. During the Cold War, Russian bears from Cuba would drift up the coast, testing our defenses to see how quickly we react. Putting together reasonable how to maybe beat the U.S. And we respond with the Delta daggers and all the different aircraft along the coast and turn them around and head them back, or keep them out over international waters, whatever the protocol was. You may have heard during 9/11, they scrambled aircraft out of one of the bases. I forget which one. Langley, I'm thinking. Anyway, and they got criticized because they didn't tell them where to go. The standard protocol, obviously, was out to sea, not to the nation's capital that was under attack that day. So anyway, a lot different look to it since I lived there in the mid-70s. Also, down the way, that big rectangle down there doesn't really do it justice. That's the Boeing 787 plant. Every now and then you would see the 747. It's escaping me, but they're beluga-like aircraft hauling parts in and out. So, anyway, welcome to Charleston after all of that. Let's take a look at what we did. I felt like a lot better on the landing. Hopefully it was. Okay, so let's do this. Elevate Tech first. I did start the, no, I didn't. Never mind. Let's just do Sim Toolkit. Forgot to start Elevate Tech on it. That's okay. We didn't run an ACARS, and I've been doing that intentionally with this series. I really don't have a good reason to run with any specific airline. All right, so you saw the numbers down there, so let's click OK. Did say OK. There we go. And let's click our last flight up there. You can see the bumpy ride all the way in. All right, the details you're used to from Elevatech and Volanta, they're here. Quick synopsis. People, I guess, just don't like learning from their landings. I try to. 58-minute flight, 224 miles, 2,120 gallons or kilograms. 1.1 on the G's, not bad. 285, really not bad at 143. That was really, number-wise, looks good. Now let's look at it. All right, so blast pad. Now the fun thing I remember as a kid from here, and I really can't pin down why the big elephant walk that occurred there. What's an elephant walk? When the mission assigned aircraft come down the taxiway lined up, I want to say at least 20, I think my dad said 40 C-141s took off MITO, minimum interval takeoff distance. Back then, basically the first airplane sits till the mark on the clock and of course cleared for takeoff. When the two match, that one goes down the runway and the next one they just keep going. Literally, if one of them oopses down the runway, 2 or 3 could be affected by it because you just can't stop it quick enough. You would really know this because of the 106s, their quick takeoffs, and the SAC minimum intervals where they're getting the bombers airborne quickly. Same thing with cargo. Maximum amount of cargo aircraft airborne quickly. I don't know where they went. Was told Israel by my father, but I can't find a reason why they would have. There was no wars on at that point, or even conflicts that occurred. So who cares? But it was neat to watch, nonetheless. Neat to watch. All right, so according to this, we landed 1,950 feet down the runway, 4 feet off the center line. Right there, I love seeing. That makes me feel much better at my landing and flying. Let's see, pitched up 1.7. I really don't know what's a good pitch in the 900 version. But again, our speed, vertical speed, and G's. So here's where you begin to see what you did. We were correcting with some slight adjustments in our wing to get on that center line, I'm sure. But that is all great numbers. And oh, that makes me feel so much better after the first one. It still didn't couple up like I was hoping. Now I got to fly Zebo and see if it does the same thing. All right, well, that's going to put a wrap on it today. I want to thank you all so much for coming aboard. Brandon, Com54 for the follow. Thank you all. What a great crowd today. Tomorrow we're back at it. Thought I had that page up. I don't. So we'll cheat real quick and there it is. Tomorrow we're going to have some more fun, and this time I am gonna tell you right now, going into Paro, if you can grease that landing, either you're messing with the sim, slowing it down, speeding it up to make it, or you're just pretty doggone good flyer on the sim. But I'm here to tell you, we're headed to Paro, and I can't wait. Dangerous approach time. Look it up. It's a fun approach. I've watched a couple streamers go in there, and it didn't match up with what the charts say and the procedures I've seen in videos. So we're going to be flying it that way. And it is a fun approach. I hope you all can make it. We'll be departing where we landed for Mac Air yesterday over in Dhaka, Bangladesh. We're going into Paro, coming out and headed over to Kathmandu. So, fun day tomorrow. Couple of short flights again. but pretty fun. And we'll be in the A319 as most of those flights are flown. So, all right. So I hope you all had a great time. Hope you enjoyed the Life of a Military Brat episode 6. Episode 7 will be coming shortly. I'm not sure when we'll fly it, but it'll be soon. And I appreciate the 2 that were waiting on the ramp. Thank you so much. Thank you to our moderators for being out there, and thank you for being a part of Flying with Mike today. Y'all have a blessed day. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.